Hello and good morning everyone. My name is Nitish and welcome to my presentation. Here I will discuss about my major project, which is how we to critically evaluate the program of student learning. This is our first slide. I would like to share my experience on this video, which is like connecting with practice, discovering making music by Akeka. What were what we'll be discussing and looking here is like what were children's reflection on their own learning? How did the children engage with the learning? What did they learn? How do you know what learning outcomes were achieved? We can discuss further how could you extend on the learning experiences? Could we add any additional resources? And were all the outcomes achieved? How do you know? How were national regulations, national law, such as National Quality Standards and the Early Years Learning Framework version 2.0 considered in this one? We will also use the Early Years Learning Framework planning scaffold as a provocation. So we'll watch this video which is available in the YouTube and then we will gonna answer all these questions. So in the first slide, we can see there are some children, there are some pans and pots hanging on the wooden table, and all the learning experience was set up in the outdoor environment. So in this video, I observed child-centric learning where children focus on how they learn best by doing. In this learning experience, the children engaged in an open-ended, child-led musical exploration using pots, pans, and utensils. This learning intention was to encourage children's sensory experimentation, promote curiosity inside the children, and support the development of early scientific thinking through sound exploration. The learning outcomes linked strongly to early years learning framework version 2.0, particularly to outcome 4, where what is outcome 4 is it is that children are confident and involved learners, and outcome 5 also, where children are effective communicators. In this video, at particular 44 second, the boy, whose name is Thomas, was hitting a pot, and when he was doing that, he was getting excited by it. So he even hit it harder. Here I observe a child self-learning and self-determination, and educators, including a Montessori approach to educate the children. Further, in this next slide, it is also like same screenshot from the video where children are still hitting it. So from the video it was evident that the outcomes were achieved through children's self-directed actions. We can see there are no educators around. We do the setup, educators set up, hold the environment, and then give the enough space for the children to do the exploration. Their actions are self-directed, no one is telling them what to do. So for example, when in last slide at 44 seconds, when we are discussing that Thomas was hitting a pot and he was becoming visibly excited, motivating him to continue experimenting with force and volume. This movement showed strong evidence of agency, self-determination, and intrinsic motivation, which aligns with my philosophy of child-centered and inquiry-based learning. I also noticed further in the video at 1:10 second, when Thomas paused to listen carefully to the sound he created and found it nice. So when he found the sound nice, it increases his critical thinking as per my understanding. I also observed early critical thinking, auditory discrimination, and problem solving as he compared different sounds and adjusted his actions accordingly. These behaviors indicate that the child was actively constructing knowledge, and this was consistent with the Montessori principles that value hands-on, self-paced exploration in the children. In the next slide, when we move further in the video at 1 minute 16 seconds, when Thomas hits a pen which is held by a girl whose name is Frances, and a rod was placed in it, makes a rod jump by vibration of the sound. We can see there are two rods in the hands of Thomas and he is holding it. One, he put it inside the pan. I observed that he was thrilled by seeing this. So he started hitting the bottom of pan even harder for a higher jump. So he was hitting the pan, and the other stick which he puts in the pan pot jumps due to the vibration. This also shows learning through play, curiosity, and collaborative work in them, and it makes learning fun and memorable, and also helps to retain information for a longer time. Why do children retain information for a longer time? Because their actions are self-directed. They are doing the activity and then they are learning the things. So there, these are few incidents which helped me to know how children are noticing their development. We can move on to the next slide, where children engage with activity and inquiry based learning and hands-on experience that we all know. It also includes visual and auditory learning styles. They are exploring the sound of metal utensils covered on a bench, and some are hanging from a wooden stand, which looks like a sound station in the video. They are creating music and by hitting on them while interacting with their peers, ultimately enhancing their problem solving skills. They are passing on the things, they are telling their experiences in real time to their peers, discussing it. So by doing this, they are enhancing their problem solving skills. Also, by doing a physical activity, they are developing their fine and gross motor skills, because they are holding the pans, pots with their fingers, hands, and then they are hitting it. So there is a lot of movement involved also, and by doing these movements and activity, it increases child's self-esteem and emotional skills also. At 2 minute 18 second of the video, Thomas started showing his drama skills again, this time to a new voice, to desire social acceptance and belonging as per Akaka. Each child is quite surprised and excited with every sound, and they are searching by themselves. Here, through this video, child shows us that social interaction can both a distraction and a source of help. Children learn when they share their experiences with each other. Through experimenting and recognizing a pattern, by playing with pots and pans, they are composing different sounds. A child is learning about cause and sound effects by hitting a hanging pot and pan, dropping a metal rod through the pipe, and also by observing his peers and exploring the same by themselves. They share things, they share activities. So whatever the one child is doing, other child also feels very much excited in doing that same activity, and that's how they learn. They are creating a rhythm by selecting a variety of sounds as per the cake. We can move on to the next slide. So this is problem solving skills, cognitive skills, gross motor skills, emotional skills. These are all the skills which I can find out that are developed in the children in through this learning experience. As I saw initially, when Thomas was hitting different utensils and observing them with a single sound, he was creating a sense of rhythm using his skills. This shows that the cognitive skills are developed among children through such activities. After some time, when Thomas showing his drama skills to a new group of members, which displays that by hands-on practice his memory and gross motor skills are developed. At the start, Francis was also observing Thomas' actions, but later they collaborate and start exploring together. As noted at 2 minutes 16 seconds, Francis turns to Jay and passes a smile to him, which makes a boy comfortable in a group, showing their social emotional development. This leads to building social and emotional learning in them, as well as problem solving skills. So what we achieved, what are achieved learning outcomes? As the students have a sense of identity, like every child is identifying music by themselves and feeling safe and secure and supporting each other while doing an activity. This video also shows an interdependence, and they are confident in themselves. That's why they are like showing their drama skills or putting the things through the pens and pots. Educators can also promote learning for all the children of different cultures or diversity through this activity. They are getting an opportunity to work in a partnership with respect. Like I saw that two members are joining, Thomas and Francis later, but they are welcomed by them. So this helps them to develop their friendships. Fairness is also provided by giving everyone equal chance to explore and create rhythm. So we can say children are confident, and also involve other learners by connecting with people and processed materials. That's why we have a huge setup. We have different benches, different kinds of pans and pots, so that everyone can experiment and they can also share their experiences together and learn together. Also, from the video, I observed that at around 1 minute 52 seconds to 2 minute 12 seconds, educator allowed two more students at the sound station. Further, one boy grabs a green plastic pipe, which is a microphone at the sound station. I noticed that they are keeping them engaged by finding their own material and discovering their own music. This shows that each student is respecting the environment by observing the things around them as per Australian Government Department of Education AGDE 2022 version. A hands-on practice together also builds a strong social, emotional and mental well-being. They are effective communicators, as I saw Thomas was presenting his drumming skills to his peers, and then Francis welcomed Jay in the group. I also observed a communication between Thomas and Francis. They collaborate to explore music, and so overall, all this communication leads to their emotional and social skills. So next slide is about children using creative skills. Children are using their creative skills to create a sense of rhythm, cognitive strategies to develop a strategic plan, to address a struggle, compare and contrast the situation, and develop problem solving skills. I conclude from this that children achieved their learning outcomes by performance based, which involves demonstration skills like a presentation, a performance, or a creation of a product like a piece of art. We can extend further learning. I will incorporate more practice engagement by including materials of high pitch and pleasant sound. Clapping out rhythms and singing while exploring rhythm are some of the simple ways to get moving without any specialist equipment. As I see, students are doing things which only enhance their gross motor skills, like Thomas was randomly hitting on utensils, but sometimes, well, he was doing that, he misses his target, which can be more precise by improving his fine motor skills. So to improvise their fine motor skills, I will focus on the exercising using small muscles and fingers for playing instruments as per. We can go to the next slide, building foundation. In the video, students are also trying to build an initial foundation of musical interest. So to increase their interest in music, I will make them familiar with different types of music instruments and a genre of music in a fun way, like before their sleep time. We know that having a strong foundation in concepts of music is paramount. These musical concepts serve as the building blocks for musical understanding in the children. This foundation also equips students with tools to read, write, and communicate through musical vocabulary, and also empowers them to engage in critical thinking. There are some additional resources also can be added, which is like scope of improvement in every field. In music, I can use resources to increase their interests and improvise student skills. For improvising their skills, instead of basic equipment which are used in the video, I can use traditional materials and musical instruments such as ocarina sets a resource and make them learn, as it will help them to improve their fine motor skills. It is a wind musical instrument. It is used regularly in schools with only four holes, designed for little fingers, simple to play, and make pleasant sound. I will make a general teaching curriculum more effective by adding bigger group activities in them as they socialize and more confidence building in them. Under national law, there is a check over educational programs to all children being educated and cared for. It is designed to take into account the individual differences of each child as per Australian Government Department of Education. Further, the EYLF version 2.0 is a national approved learning framework under National Quality Framework for young children from birth to 5 years. It highlights the concept of children as teachers of other children and able to support their own learning. This framework also guides educational leaders and assists them in planning, delivering, and evaluating quality programs. Planning scaffolding in EYLF is a framework in which students feel comfortable while learning for a next step. Learning can be possible from anywhere and everywhere, so it should be dynamic in nature. So conclusion, as discussed in the presentation and observing from the video of discovering, children develop different types of skills like cognitive, social emotional and others through interactive activity. Hence it is important that learning is provided in such a way so that all the EYLF outcomes can be considered. This is a list of references which I used to make this presentation in the video. Thank you very much guys and have a good one.